Lopez! Shakur Stevenson! Through to the rival. He did indeed silence them.
Yo, so everyone's been debating how Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson would play out. Some people said Shakur's movement would make Teofimo look foolish for 12 rounds. Others swore Teofimo's power and unpredictability would break Shakur down. The arguments were heated. Team Shakur versus Team Teofimo was going back and forth for months. Two undefeated champions, completely opposite styles, and nobody could agree on what would actually happen when they finally stepped in that ring. We're going to break down both sides of this debate, what the experts predicted, and then show you exactly how it all went down. Let's get into it. So look, Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. This fight had been brewing for years. These two have known each other since they were literally 12 years old, competing in amateur nationals together. They've been on a collision course this entire time, and finally, we got to see them settle it in the professional ranks at the biggest stage possible, Madison Square Garden, the mecca of boxing. Two undefeated champions, everything on the line. But here's what made this fight so fascinating to everyone. It wasn't just about the belts. It wasn't just about being undefeated. This was a legitimate clash of philosophies, bro. Two completely different approaches to the sport of boxing, and only one of them was gonna walk out of that ring with their way of fighting validated. The other one? Career-altering questions, legacy damage, all of that. And the crazy part is, depending on who you asked before this fight, you got completely different predictions about how it was going to go down. Alright, so let's break down these styles, because this is what had everyone so divided going into fight night. On one side, you got Teofimo Lopez. And bro, Teofimo is just different. Like, this dude does not wait his turn. He doesn't play the politics. He doesn't slowly work his way up the rankings. Nah, he crashes through the front door and takes what he wants. That's literally how he's operated his entire career. When he beat Lomachenko, everyone said he was too young, too inexperienced, the moment was too big. And what did Teofimo do? Went out there and became undisputed lightweight champion at like 23 years old. Then he moved up to 140, beat Josh Taylor, and cemented himself as one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport. The thing about Teofimo is he thrives on chaos. Like, he wants the fight to be messy. He wants high energy exchanges. He wants to make you uncomfortable. He wants to disrupt your rhythm before you even establish one. That unpredictability is his superpower. You never know what version of Teofimo you're gonna get. Is he gonna box? Is he gonna brawl? Is he gonna blitz you early or wait and counter? Nobody knows, including Teofimo himself sometimes. But then you got Shakur Stevenson on the other side. And Shakur is the complete opposite in every single way. Where Teofimo is chaos, Shakur is control. Where Teofimo is explosive and unpredictable, Shakur is calculated and methodical. This dude is an Olympic silver medalist. He's won world titles in multiple weight classes. And the way he fights is like watching a computer program. Everything is measured. Every step has a purpose. Every punch is thrown with intention. Shakur doesn't just beat you, he suffocates you. He takes away all your options one by one until you're standing there frustrated, tired, and questioning everything you thought you knew about boxing. His defense is absolutely elite. His ring IQ might be the best in the sport right now. And the way he controls distance and timing is just beautiful to watch if you really understand the sport. So you can see why this matchup had people going crazy, right? It's the ultimate question. What wins? Chaos or control? Raw athleticism and power, or technical brilliance and discipline? Disruption or structure? And bro, the boxing community was split on this one. Like genuinely 50-50. Team Shakur was confident. They were saying there's no way Teofimo can deal with that movement, that footwork, that defensive mastery. They kept bringing up how Teofimo struggled against Sandor Martin. They kept talking about how Jermaine Ortiz gave him problems with lateral movement. They were saying, yo, when Teofimo faces guys who can move and don't stay in front of him, he gets frustrated. He can't plant his feet. He can't land his power shots. And if that's the case, Shakur is about to put on an absolute clinic for 12 rounds. Tim Bradley was picking Shakur to win comfortably. A lot of analysts were saying Shakur by unanimous decision, probably winning like 10 of the 12 rounds. They believed Shakur's IQ was just too high, his fundamentals too sound, his game plan too perfect. They were like, Teofimo's gonna come out aggressive in the first few rounds, realize he can't hit Shakur clean, get tired by round 7, and then Shakur's gonna cruise to an easy victory. But then you had Team Teofimo, and they were loud about it too. They were saying, everyone's sleeping on Teofimo's championship experience. This dude beat Lomachenko. He beat Josh Taylor. Those are two of the best fighters of this generation, and Teofimo was the underdog in both fights. They were saying, yo, Teofimo is most dangerous when people doubt him, when his back is against the wall, when everyone's picking against him. That's when he rises to the occasion. Plus, Team Teofimo was questioning whether Shakur had ever really been tested. Like, yeah, his resume looks good on paper. Oscar Valdez, Shuichiro Yoshino, Edwin de los Santos, but none of those guys are on the level of Lomachenko or Josh Taylor. They were saying, Shakur's never felt real power before. He's never been in a dogfight. He's never had to show real heart and grit when things get ugly. And against Teofimo, things will get ugly. Gary Antoine Russell, who's a fighter himself and trains with some of these guys, he said if the Teofimo that showed up against Lomachenko shows up for this fight, Teofimo wins. Period. That version of Teofimo who was composed but aggressive, patient but explosive, if that guy shows up, Shakur's in trouble. Chris Algieri was calling it a genuine 50-50 fight. He said it all depends on which fighter shows up on the night. If Shakur can establish his rhythm early and make Teofimo chase him for 12 rounds, Shakur wins. But if Teofimo can cut off the ring, land some heavy shots early, and plant doubt in Shakur's mind, then all bets are off. The stamina question was huge too. A lot of people were wondering if Teofimo could maintain his explosiveness for 12 full rounds. They were saying, he's a front-runner. He comes out hot in the first 6 rounds and then fades. If that happens against Shakur, it's going to be a long night for Teofimo. But others were flipping it and saying, what if Shakur's the one who gets tired? What if Teofimo's pressure breaks him down mentally? What if Shakur realizes in round 5 or 6 that his usual tricks aren't working and he panics? And yo, the mental aspect of this fight was insane leading up to it. That face-to-face encounter we talked about, where Teofimo put his hand on Shakur's face and the whole room erupted, that set the tone for everything. Shakur had been going at Teofimo for months, questioning his mental stability, saying he's too emotional, too unpredictable, that he's got issues he needs to work through. And Teofimo was firing back, saying Shakur's scared to get hit, scared to be in a real fight, that he's protected and hasn't faced real opposition. The amateur history added another layer too. Shakur kept bringing up how they knew each other from way back, implying he had Teofimo's number even back then. But Teofimo's camp was dismissing that completely, saying amateur boxing and professional boxing are two totally different sports. What happened when they were kids doesn't matter now. You could tell this fight was personal for both of them. It wasn't just business. There was real animosity, real pride on the line, real legacy implications. Whoever lost this fight was going to have to answer some serious questions about where they go from here and what their ceiling actually is in this sport. So when fight night finally came, Madison Square Garden was absolutely electric. You could feel the tension in that building. Both fighters walking to the ring with everything to prove. Both undefeated. Both convinced they're the best super lightweight in the world. Both ready to make a statement. And yo, one thing both sides agreed on was that the mental aspect of this fight would be huge. The hypothetical build-up to this fight would have been insane. We're talking about two guys who genuinely don't like each other. Real animosity, real pride on the line, real legacy implications. People were saying Shakur would try to get in Teofimo's head by being ice cold, by questioning his mental stability, by staying calm while Teofimo gets emotional. That's been Shakur's approach in other big fights. He wants you to lose your cool while he stays composed. But would that work against Teofimo? Because Teofimo feeds off that energy. He wants you to talk trash. He wants the disrespect. He wants people to doubt him. That's when he's most dangerous. The amateur history would add another layer. They knew each other as kids. They competed against each other. There's familiarity there, but also rivalry. Shakur would probably bring up those amateur encounters, trying to establish psychological dominance. Teofimo would dismiss it, saying amateur boxing doesn't mean anything in the pros. People were debating whether the face-to-face encounters would get physical, whether the weigh-in would have drama, whether one fighter would try to intimidate the other, or if both would stay professional. The consensus was that whoever won the mental battle first would have a significant advantage. If Shakur could make Teofimo overthink and abandon his natural instincts, that's huge. If Teofimo could plant doubt in Shakur's mind about whether his defense would hold up against real power, that's equally huge. And bro, if you went on social media, the casual boxing fans had their own wild predictions that were honestly entertaining as hell. You'd have people saying Teofimo would knock Shakur out in 3 rounds because Shakur's never been hit by someone with real power. You'd have others saying Shakur would make Teofimo quit on his stool after 8 rounds from pure frustration. The Twitter debates were hilarious. Someone would post, "Shakur outboxes him easy, not even close." And then 50 people would quote tweet like, "You clearly don't know boxing, Teofimo sparks him," back and forth for months. YouTube comment sections were the same thing. Under every video about either fighter, people were arguing about this hypothetical matchup. Some were bringing up punch stats. Others were talking about height and reach advantages. Some were analyzing their common opponents, trying to do MMA math that never actually works. The memes were great too. People were making edits of Shakur dodging Teofimo's punches in slow motion. Others were making videos of Teofimo's knockouts with dramatic music. Everyone was picking sides and going to war in the comments. Even fighters were getting in on the debate. Active boxers were tweeting their predictions. Some were training partners with Shakur and obviously biased toward him. Others knew Teofimo personally and were riding with him. The whole boxing world was invested in how this fight would theoretically play out. Alright y'all, the boxing world is hyped for this bout and you need to watch this fight. Drop a comment and let me know if your predictions were right. Were you Team Shakur or Team Teofimo from the start? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown. This is the kind of fight that reminds you why boxing is the greatest sport on earth. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.